So when are we avoiding and when are we learning to show our boundaries? When are we controlling and where are we being clear with ourselves? When are we facing our fears and when are we pushing ourselves too much? When are we learning? When are we surviving? So I wrote these words a day ago. And one of the questions I got is, how do we know where we are? That's a great question. And it's something that I've been working with a lot. How do I know what I'm doing? And how do I know where I am? And there's not an easy answer. Like, I'm tuning into it and seeing what comes up as I'm sharing this with you. There's not an easy answer. The one where it is about facing fear versus pushing ourselves has a lot to do with our nervous system. We are pushing ourselves, and also the one with surviving versus learning. They both have a lot to do with the nervous system. Like, when we go too far out our comfort zone, we switch on our fight or flight mode, and our amygdala is triggered. And when we are in fight or flight mode, or when we go further out and we're in freeze mode, then we definitely are pushing ourselves and we're definitely surviving. We're not learning, we're not being gentle, we're just surviving the current situation. And how do you know that you're there? Well, those are the moments where our minds freak out. These are the moments where emotions become, you can have an emotional release when it feels like good. Like, there can be anger releases, there can be grief releases, there can be any kind of emotional releases that actually feel good. And there can be emotional releases that don't really feel good, that feel kind of like you're going in a loop, that you're getting a bit stuck, that it's like going down a drain. Then you're definitely too far out and you're not in a good place, you're not where you want to be. So when you're noticing that you go into anxiety, when you go into panic modes, when you go into that drain of feeling shit and I'm feeling even shittier, then you might want to go back. Then you might want to take a deep breath. Like, a deep breath is the first thing you can do to calm down your nervous system, because a deep breath activates that part of you that actually tells you that you're all right. So that can be the first thing to gently come back. Because when you are in this situation where you're pushing yourself, you cannot really think. And you're just surviving. So there's no calm, rational thinking going on. There's just surviving going on. So yes, taking a deep breath, see how you can create safety for yourself, and then checking in with yourself from that place of feeling safe, what it is that you want to need. And then you can go back to learning. Then you can go back to facing your fears within what still feels good. Because again, you can face your fears all you want, but if you're too far out of your comfort zone, if you are stressing your nervous system too much, you're not going to learn. You're just surviving. And as for the first two that I wrote, it's like the avoiding and showing boundaries and the controlling and being clear with ourselves. It's like, where do we really come from? And maybe it's, I wrote below it, I wrote maybe it's all the same. Like, sometimes I don't know whether I'm avoiding something or whether I'm showing my boundaries, and maybe I am doing both. Like, I know I have been pushing myself a lot with inside my relationships over the last years, where I thought I needed to be okay with whatever my lover was doing, even though he would have lots of other interactions with other women where I felt I needed to slow down a little bit. And I would push myself. I would tell myself, hey, I'm going to go for it. If I want to be in this kind of a relationship, I should be able to do with everything. So I pushed myself a lot. I went into survival mode. I just, tried to survive the situation, explored anxiety and panic attacks and all that. So by now, I want to do things a bit different. So I got my boundaries more clear. Am I avoiding certain things? I may be. maybe in a while I'm like, yeah, I was actually avoiding a lot of things, and maybe I should push myself a little bit more, like give myself some more space to explore these fears and stuff. But at the moment, I don't feel like it at all. So am I avoiding something? Probably I am, but probably we're always avoiding something, whether it's, panic or going too far out of our comfort zone. Maybe that's what we're avoiding. We're probably always avoiding something. So let's choose what we're avoiding and choose our battles. That was one of the first lessons I got as a parent, like choose your battles, like which boundaries are really important to you. And then stick to those boundaries and really dare to take your space and stand up for those boundaries, even when it's scary. And it's happening currently in my life as well, where it feels like there is an alignment process going on in business, like who I work with, who I relate with, who are my friends. And it feels like a process of trust where I have boundaries. And I noticed over the past months that where my boundaries felt unclear, that people would take more space than I was willing to give them. And that when my boundaries become more clear, some people will be clear as well and be like, hey, those boundaries of yours don't feel good to me, so I'm going to go another way. And but I do feel better honoring my own boundaries and my own process. Am I avoiding something? Probably there too. And I don't know if it's a bad thing. And the same thing for controlling and being clear with our desires. Controlling desires and boundaries to me are the same thing. Same, two sides of the same coin. And probably avoiding and controlling are same sides, same coin, different sides as well. They're both very related. So when I am very clear with my desires, maybe I'm controlling. And is that a bad thing? Like, we are all manipulating all the time. That's what commercials do. That's what parenting is. That is what talking with friends may be for a lot of time. And we may try to manipulate very respectfully and give people a chance to make up their own minds. But still, looking at who we are as human beings, I think we're manipulating all the time. And of course, there are levels of manipulation that are not respectful and not having integrity at all. So maybe we can try to be controlling and avoiding in a very respectful way. Looking at it that way. I'm curious how this resonates with you, by the way. So feel free to respond and share your opinion on these things. Yeah, so I guess that's what my take on this is. And another big thing on this is what I take with me a lot of the time is, where is my excitement? This is the example I always use. If I'm going to make a choice, if I'm going to put myself in a certain situation, am I excited about it? And if I'm excited, then it's okay to be afraid. It's that difference between going into a roller coaster that you might be scared of, but something in your belly tells you like, ooh, I'm actually very excited about this. I want to do this. There may be other roller coasters, or like bungee jumping would be a thing for me because I got quite a fear of heights, where I would be like standing there and be like, well, that is something I'm just not going to do. I feel no excitement whatsoever for this. So this flame of excitement, for me, I feel it in my belly. You might feel it in your belly too, or maybe in your heart or somewhere else in your body, is that this spark of excitement, I need that to actually go for something. So if there is no excitement, then you're probably pushing yourselves. If there's no excitement, it may not be your desire. If there's no excitement, then you're probably not having boundaries, because without boundaries, you're probably not going to feel safe. Because we all need safety for expansion. We need safety to explore and to feel free. And if you don't have boundaries, I see this a lot with my clients when we explore some two-way touch, is that I ask them their boundaries and they have no idea. So then I give them some weird example of like, okay, so I can like put my finger in your ear and then in your nose and then into your mouth. And then they're like, ooh, well, actually I do have boundaries. And then I tell them, okay, let me know. they speak their boundaries, and then suddenly their body relaxes. And they're like, huh, I didn't even know I had boundaries. But now I spoke them, I actually feel much safer. And I enjoy your touch way more, even though you're just holding my hand. So having your boundaries super clear is important to feel expansion and feel that spark where you want to go. So hello friends, hello, thanks for watching. I think that's all I have to say about this for now. And as with everything, for me this is all ongoing research, and what I do with exploring deeper with this thing I create is that I'm just keeping you updated on my ongoing research. So this is what I got now, and who knows what else comes. I'll happily share with you more. So take good care of yourself, and sending you much love, and until next time.